Welcome to Global Morning.
The death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rate as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call a police station, before they even leave, they'll take permission from.
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
We struggled as to strike.
The Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a lie. The president never gave me any deadline.
Alright, it's Global Morning on Global Television, and today the 9th of December 2024. It's great to be here, and it's a beautiful day, it's a beautiful time. The weather is calm, every other thing is intact. And today on the program Global Morning, of course, I am Jumai Manson. I'm doing it with someone, my co-host that I hold in very high esteem, my very good friend, no other person than...
Edikan Michael is live here with Jumai. Good morning, Jumai.
Good morning, Edikan. It's great to have you on the program.
Always a privilege and a pleasure to always have you. Connection to the fact that, it's already my birthday week.
Oh!
All right, so we now get to the fact that we have to be grateful. One of the most important things about gratitude.
Very important.
The experience we've had. The concern about what it really means for us to continue to, keep pushing, what we are passing, the challenges, the economic situations, and all of this stuff. So there are very strong people. What was said, other nations or people in the other countries go through what Nigerians are going through. I doubt if they will ought to really survive all of that. So we give it to Nigeria for the resilience and the concern they have had over the past, period of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's reforms. It looks like the reforms, came with a whole lot of hardship and all of that. But there's one thing the president have also reassured the citizens that, look, I needed to take this part. We can't continue to, do all of the things and continue with the subsidies and all of those without.
Very true.
I need to take these actions. I need to take these steps so that things can get better. So the people have really been reacting towards that concern, and I will see that things are going to take shape. I believe in the Nigerians, and of course we know that things are going to take shape. Jumai.
Exactly. Talking about things taking shape, of course you know what the reform is all about. How they said this particular reform is unfavorable to them, but I like the fact that the president is willing to come to the round table. Let us see how we can make two ends meet and come to a particular focus or destination at the same time. Like you mentioned, the reforms, when it has to do with the economic hardship in which we are going through in Nigeria, talking about the fuel subsidy, talking about unemployment and the hike in electricity tariff, going to the market and nothing to write home about, all of these things encompass. So I think this reform has come to stay and it's come to bring succor the Nigerian as a country. So it's very important we understand that. And you mentioned something about staying. Be grateful.
Absolutely.
Despite it, who that will buy fuel at the rate of 1,000 plus today?
One was saying, as of
Really?
May 29 last year, May 28 or 27 last year, people bought fuel at 180. Just May 29 at 500 and
got to 1,000 plus. Who that, and we are still standing as Nigerians. So like you mentioned something very vital. You said if it's other countries that are going through this, I don't think they'll be able to survive. But Nigerians are dog-headed. Yes, we are very, very, very strong people. So let's be grateful to them. But a lot of people have passed away due to this economic hardship. I will stand into someone in the health sector. Most individuals are so much high rate of death. It's not because there are no medicines to actually give to the patients. Doctors, we will not talk about for them because sometimes some of these drugs for them, but because there is no food for the individual to eat, because you must eat before you take in drugs. So there are high rates of them, not because of the ailment that brought the individual to the hospital, because the person has not eaten. So it's that bad that people are really going through a lot. So away from any other sad news, let's talk about the presidential election that took place in Ghana. Of course, the president who has
John Mahama has returned. A political comeback. geopolitical combat this year. That United States President Donald Trump was the president, but he lost election, came back again, and now won back the seat. And now you get to Ghana, the same thing. John Mama, lost out an election years ago, and the people of Ghana had to look. It looks that his policy were working. They compared to the fact that some of the economy reforms and all of this because they were working.
That's all.
They elected the ruling party by electing John Mahama to be the president of Ghana. So he's coming back as a re-elected president.
Yes, he is.
All of takeaways and lessons for Nigeria to get, which of course in the course of the program will be a tremendous concern and all of the development that came from the election.
But I want to talk about it a little bit. When I read the news, because I was following up with the election process that happened in Ghana, of course, our former president, Goodluck Jonathan, was part of the observers that went to Ghana to see what the election entails and how he told them that they should stay patriotic and all of that. But is it possible, Edikan, that we as Africans can actually go through an electoral process without violence? Because when I read the report, it says 4 injured and 1 dead in that particular election that took place in Ghana. So is it possible that in Africa we can actually have a smooth sail without any hiccups when it comes to violence, when it comes to death being recorded in an electoral process? I think, for me, we have a long way to go. I think we can actually come out and have a free and fair, transparent election without any hiccups, without violence, without anyone being dead. So and all of that, but the process, the electoral process, is always smooth sail compared to what we have here. You think we have a way to go?
Yeah, well, those bad part are also the good part to them.
Okay.
The takeaways from that election, because yes, we cannot completely say that we can have a free, violence-free elections. We've also been seeing concern about, what it means for also have a good election, but. Away from all of that concern, let's get to go on a very quick break, everyone, and once we return, the conversation on the program continues. To stay with us.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper review, latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
right, you are welcome back to Global Morning. We're talking about the Ghanaian election, the presidential election that took place and gave victory to the returning president. And before we went on that very quick break, and Michael, you were saying that there was a standard for as long as there were cons and the pros in this particular election that happened. Which one do you want to talk about? Is it the fact that the opposition party accepted defeat?
Defeat. You know, the only time we've witnessed that in Nigeria was 2015.
Yes, good luck, Jonathan.
Jonathan said, I mean, my ambition doesn't watch the blood of any Nigerian.
Very true.
So it was a very patriotic move. So the ruling party, just before us, the counting process was on, said, I've looked at the result, I've looked at the percentage of what has been recorded so far. So it looks that I'm already losing out of this election. So before they can even announce the winner, let me first congratulate and all of that. So it sent a signal that Ghana relatively love peace. But a few crises you've seen, about the elections and the death that have been recorded in that process, can probably be traced back to the fact that disagreement between the political parties at the grassroots level, tensions of who support one all of that. But the leaders are relatively showing the direction, because that's one thing about Nigeria, because we want a situation where Nigerian leaders continue to lead the way. I mean, and show the example. When we see actors, two major political actors exchanging some words and disagreement, it triggered some violence from the grassroots. But when they are speaking peace, when they are projecting peace, and it has a way of calming down, the political tension in. So that's what the Ghana, ruling party did. They said quickly, we understand the tension is still very much high, but before the election is announced, let me reach out and also concede some defeat. So that was really, really a lesson to learn. But what INEC chairman, we also had an INEC chairman at Ghana. He said, the lessons I've gotten is that politicians do not just jump from this other political party to the other in Ghana. So they stay in one political party as long as they can.
Exactly.
Like Nigeria, someone is PDP today, is a member of House of Reps today.
Exactly.
So he gets to another party just to be able to get. So every election cycle, we have issues of defection, people moving from one party to the other. So INEC chairman saying, this is not helping to our elections. And those that have also backfired to the INEC chairman, that's not the only lesson you get. Look about the each free of the election. We didn't hear IREF.
Very true.
It's really, really a big and interesting conversation to have. But look at the population of Ghana. There are over 35 million people.
Yes, compared to us.
Over 200.
Yes, it's a lot. No, you cannot.
So, a lot of things to take away, the comparative advantage of Ghana and the disadvantage we have
here in Nigeria.
But a global affairs analyst will be joining us subsequently on the program to share another development. But for now, let's get to go on a break, everyone. And once we return, look at the national dailies, what the headlines today I really have for you. So do well to sit tight. We'll be right back with the papers.
All right, you're welcome back. It's Global Morning on Global Television. Welcome back from that very quick break. And at this point, it is the newspaper review. And the first paper which we'll be delving into is the Daily Trust. And below the Daily Trust, the star story there says, dry season farming suffers as dam infrastructure collapses. And the writer there says, farmers resort to boreholes well And then, of course, says the all-new Changan CS95 from Mokano Motors. 32 states, FCT record 0 foreign investments in 2024. And that's all on the Daily Trust. And of course, below that it says 2 siblings die after eating cassava meal in Abuja. And then still on the Daily Trust says corruption must be fought from the top, says Obasanjo. And here it says tax reform bills increase tax on the rich, Don tells federal government. And you can find that on page 7 of the Daily Trust. And of course, some very interesting stories on the Daily Trust I would like to discuss with Edika. Talking about corruption must be fought from the top, says Obasanjo. Truth said.
I've always been saying that people cannot just start when people look at the fact that Nigeria is corrupt and all of that. We also said leadership is a key thing.
Very important.
The fact that if leaders shows the way, if they are doing things rightly, if they are not embezzling funds allocated to public use and all of that, the people automatically will know that this is wrong and the queue behind what the leaders are doing. But the moment where we hear something like $2 billion they've been taken away, mismanaged and all of that, those kind of news has a way of triggering down to the grassroots and trying to encourage little other corrupt practices. So it must be fought from the top. That's what Obasanjo is saying, meaning that we can only engage this thing from the top. Leaders will begin to show example by leading, by management of resources at their disposal, so that people can also understand that there's an implication, there's a penalty, there's an effect. There's something that if you are caught, as a councillor, if you are caught as a local government chairman, if you are caught as a supervisor, if you are caught as a commissioner, there's a price to pay. But the moment where people can only get into public offices just to embezzle funds, and they really have no conscience of whatever repercussion might come forward, the people and other people are still warming up, waiting for their own turn to be elected, so that they can also be engaged in this. So Obasanjo is very right about corruption being fought from the top.
And just to add to what you've said, have you noticed that once our top leaders are caught in the act of money laundering, they get away with it? We hear about it maybe for 1, 2, 3, 1 week, and then we see how this plays out. And remember, it just gets swept under the carpet. So that is why it needs to be fought from the top. The legal action must be taken. The due process of law must be taken in order for it to curb this menace in our society, so that others who are below, like you have mentioned, when it comes to local government, that can learn and see that corruption is not taken lightly. If the top can go through all of this, who knows what will happen to those at the bottom. And then another story that I caught my eye on the Daily Trust is 2 siblings die after eating cassava meal in Abuja. What does that tell you? That most of these grains that are being processed must be watched and must go through due process of the manufacturing procedures.
Why are people resorting to eating cassava grains? Because of
harsh economy,
hunger, the hardship. So for people are looking for what to eat. So the moment where we are getting to that point where people hardly have 2 square meals, 3 square meals, is really a concern for government.
It is.
For people to start eating cassava grains, probably I don't even know how
the process is really.
How we've really gotten to that level. So it means that hunger, when they say hunger, is real. It's becoming clearer every day that it looks at what majority of people are looking for is what to eat. They are not after about what to wear. They are not after about
no, just put it in.
Just be able to go. So it is high time of also seeing people advocating for that the president should declare state of emergency on hunger. That it should be a zero effort of government to look at the food that they can give to people.
Very important.
Because we may take this thing very lightly. We may have your own food to eat, but I tell you, they are concerned just as what we've gotten now. So many families today, have resorted to gari, have resorted to cassava and all of that. Sometimes even little kids and people in schools, in primary schools, in nursery schools, they can't even have what to eat, to talk less of. So, Jumai, it's really a concern that government must pay attention to the issue of hunger. The Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs as well should look at that aspect, because it looks that if we allow this to be, allow this to continue in the country, it has, I mean,
immediate effect.
Immediate effect. We may get insecurity is not. I mean, it's not even guaranteed. Security is not even guaranteed.
No, it's not.
The future of this country is also at stake. So let's get to pay attention to that.
But I mean, looking at the Daily Trust, now there's an area of concern. The Star story that says dry season farming suffers as dam infrastructure collapses, and you know what that will happen. You know what that means. You need water in order for crops to grow in areas like that, and this could result to famine.
This is even one aspect of the challenge.
Exactly.
The security of farmers and all of that has still been a major concern. So even now having dams dried up because of the season means that we are still getting more harder because insecurity have pushed farmers out of the farm.
Yes, it has.
All of these factors. So now that we are even having about this dry season again, having control of collapsing our infrastructure, that means we are in for a very big issues.
I pray that the necessary bodies that are in charge of the dam and all of that do take action immediately before we get to that point. Hopefully we do not get to that point that when it comes to...
Government should always be responsive, you know. Just like about these infrastructure dams, you know, when you look at the fact that there was a projection where we know that we have rainy season, we have dry season.
Exactly.
We get to always be prepared ahead of time.
You know, I always say... Exactly, and I think that is where the problem is. You know, last year or 2 years ago, we saw what happened when the flood that took place in Bayelsa, in Lokoja, and all that. We saw that.
This year's one has to be in Borno State.
Exactly. We do not prepare. We do not prepare ahead, and we do not check all of these things to see if there's a crack or to see if there's a problem that needs to be fixed before the harm is done. I think it's unfortunate we need a committee to actually be up and doing. I think we need individuals who are up and doing when it comes to positions in which you hold in our society. I think a lot needs to be done. I'm talking about the leaders. They have a lot to do when it comes to this. And I always revert back to the presidential speech. He said there's going to be a monitoring committee, but where are they to monitor all of these things? It's very important. It's all about interventions. You're right. You need someone to be up and doing. And we hope we get to that point. And next is the Nigerian Tribune, and of course the Deacon will be taking us through that this morning.
All right, on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune this morning, big story: PDP chair, pro-Damagun forces plan takeover of BOT. Rather to that PDP story says other stakeholders mount pressure on David Mark to take over in February. 67 BOT members face uncertainty over plot. Wabara under pressure over stands on tenure of acting chairman. States have power to nominate tenure BOT members. That is coming from the National Public Secretary. You can find that story on page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune. And on page 3 of the paper, Ghana's ex-president John Mahama wins re-elections and rival concedes defeat. Tinubu congratulates him. We also have as multiple handling charges leave 1.5 billion Lagos Ibadan cargo train stranded at the Lagos port. Consumer rights violation, FCCPC caution APs against obstructing inquiry. And that's on page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune. Data by DMO validates to show success in debt management. Tax reform bills have no provision for consultants on tax collection. That's coming from Oyodele. Now, how inflation, high cost of raw materials dampened manufacturers' confidence in food, beverages, textile sectors. And we also have EME's airborne insurance bolster forex reserves and naira stability. And that's on page 14, right there for respect to the fact that over the weekend we saw naira get into 1,500 from 1,600. So it was looking that naira is gaining some strength. And now they have also traced back to the fact that it looks that it's from the Eurobond insurance that this has given strength to naira. But you can get the papers to get more details and clarity on that position. The asset flees to Russia as Syrian rebels topples government. Opposition leader calls for 18 months transition period before election. And that's the very few big stories we're having this morning on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. But just very quickly, just get to react to concern about the tax reforms. This is coming from Oyedele. that it has no provision for consultancies on tax collection. We've also seen that the tax reform has been under critics for the past few weeks right away.
Yes, it has.
And even when it has scaled through the second reading, and the Senate had, through their wisdom, referred back the National Assembly Committee to meet with the AGF and the Ministry of Justice so as for them to be able to have some clarity what the law really has to say and how they can manage the interests of everyone. The Northerners, the Northern senators and the Northern governors have also criticized the tax reforms. For them, the proper consultation wasn't made, and that's the reason why they have been calling for a review of some of the part of the bills so as for them to come into tandem with. But questions citizens have continued to ask these ones that are criticizing the bills is, at your different states, do you consult widely before many bills are passed in the House of Assembly? Have we not had issues where governors sometimes take bills to the House of Assembly and it's passed within a few weeks and all of that without consultation of traditional rulers, the people and all of the concern? So we should be able to, if we are looking for equity, we are looking for justice, we are looking for the right thing towards the done, at the little level, at the little corner, what are you doing differently so as for you to start holding leaders accountable? Yes, the president might also have a concern about how these reforms will mean for our tax, but how about, a concern about the fact that you're different states, you do your own thing the way you like, and now you're looking for the president to be making proper consultation. I will not look at the good side of the bills, because the content of the bill sometimes is looking for the fact that it will address multiple taxation.
Yes,
when you look at multiple taxation, that is really what is pushing businesses out of Nigeria. This one are collecting taxes, this organization is collecting, FRC is collecting, and all of that. So before you pay all of those taxes, it's becoming very worrisome to a lot of people.
And it takes a toll on the business.
On the businesses. So we must look at the good part of these bills. That is what the people are really saying. But through the wisdom of the President and National Assembly to meet and resolve all of that, and consultations will be made. And Yedele is saying that there's no consultancy, not that somebody will be, in charge, or private sector or whatever, will be in charge of collecting the tax. So no one should be afraid about how these taxes will be collected at the end of the day. And the people pro-Damogun forces plan to talk about Board of Trustees. We've been having this concern about the PDP, the crisis,
back and forth,
and all of that. So February, Governors Forum had said, let's allow Damogun to stay till February, and there's already a pressure ahead of February. It looks at the people do not really want. Some party members do not really want Damogun to still be in office. I will try as much as possible to extract that development and to the suspension of Oguchiri, who was also suspended over the weekend from his work. These are the few developments which you can get on the paper from the vendor. See more details, most especially as to how Naira gained some strength and stability over the weekend. What was the reason? Because we can also trace back to the fact that Christmas is here, end of the year is here. People are trying to get back to Nigeria, so the demand for Naira is still very high. So people are very aware about changing from foreign currencies to Naira. So it looks like Naira for now will gain some strength, but can we get to that to those days when dollar to Naira was 200,
yes,
and all of that, so that things can get better?
Hopefully, fingers crossed. Like I said, let's be patriotic, let's be hopeful, and see where this will lead us to. And this is a step in the right direction. 1,500 is a big deal compared to where it's coming from, 1,600 and plus. All right, next is the Guardian newspaper, and the star story there says, tax reform bill. We're still talking about this because we're yet to get to a particular halt when it comes to the tax reform bill, and we can find that story on page 5 of the Guardian, and it says states eye 180% hike in VAT earnings amid push for fiscal federalism. And at the right corner, it says measure tax bills impact on human rights. Sirap tells NAS, and you can find that on page 7. Funding weak, political bedeviling university system. You can find that on page 8. And here it says stakeholders tax states on 2030 family planning target. And you can get that read on page 38 of The Guardian. And here it says, you have failed workers, labor group flares, NLC, TUC. And you can get that read on page 9, talking to Adejare there. And here it says, NCDC tells health facilities to intensify checks for SARS-CoV-2 variant. You can hear that read on page 7. And then it says Ghana's electoral process inspired by Nigeria, says INEC. And that's a picture of Mahmoud Yakubu. Really? I'm yet to understand that. All right, let's see here. It says Minister Operators FCCPC breaker over airfare pricing regulatory rights. And you can find that read on page 8. And below the caption it says legal tender and an easy path through transiting from old to new notes. Let's see, an easy path to transiting from old to new notes. Let's see how well that plays out. And that's all the news on the Guardian newspaper. Please go out and get yourself a copy. But I want to ask Adikan, this part that says Ghana's electoral process inspired by Nigeria, says INEC, and we see a picture of Mahmoud Yakubu, the INEC chairman. I want to understand.
It traces back to what we had earlier said. INEC chairman said, look, politicians in Ghana, are consistent in the party. So we can't really compare that. For me, I think the part of the inspiration is the fact that what Ghana, operations in Ghana is the political party is driven by ideology.
Very true.
People shares with the sentiment of their political party, compared to Nigeria, where one can be in Labour Party today
and you can defect to APC,
PDP to APC, APC to NDP and all of that. So no ideology, no basis of this political party fits my own perception about life, about society, what I can do differently. So let me stay with this party because it thinks, they stand for what I really
believe.
So it's about the belief system. So we have platforms in Nigeria. People are only looking for platforms to get into House of Assembly, National Assembly, and all of that. So
very true.
What the RHMR really having a concern is that it has inspired us to know that this is a difference. But what Nigerians are saying RHMR should also be got inspired. Should look at the fact that IRF did not fail in the
exactly.
We did not hear of glitches. We did not hear of technicality.
Yes.
People were monitoring the in and out of votes. The in of vote towards the election process. So we saw a high level of observers deployed to this election. So all what they are saying. And then we could not even also hear of issues of vote buying. So
exactly.
we were able to vote buying. People were able to reject all the money that the ruling party had. So they did not care about the ruling party. They said, go with your money, go with your policy. This is what we want. So the will of the people, one way or the other, have a right. So if INEC chairman is saying they've gotten inspiration because of how politicians behave in Ghana, let them also look at the fact that yes, I know that it's not their responsibility to fight the economic situation, but in a way, they can curtail the election by being transparent. Allowing people to monitor the vote, see the vote by themselves, and come to conclusion.
I like the fact that you mentioned transparency, that everyone, wherever you are, is the same result. I'm at home and I'm writing, and it's the same. I don't have to be after voting.
I should go back to monitor what is the development and voting. So your result, is the same result.
Tallies with, yes.
So the political party had the same result with the opposition party. So there was no point of, for instance, in Edo State, the PDP had their own result. They announced this. So I said, that result you're announcing is your own, or is not our own.
This is the new result.
The management of result, from the elections is still a concern. So I feel INEC chairman is really concerned about that, but he should also get their own lessons right.
Very importantly, especially let's just try as much as possible to be transparent when it comes to electoral process.
You look at this story where Labour was saying, I look at your failed workers, Labour group flares and NLC and TUC, the concern about NLC and the TUC over the implementation of the new minimum wage. Jima, we've been speaking about the issue of minimum wage for
we have
a few months right now. So it has not yet been implemented
by some states.
And even the states that have implemented, they have not started paying. So that's the concern we have.
It's a really big problem.
I've agreed to pay 5,000. I've agreed to pay 8,000, but no implementation, no payment. Okay, there's implementation, but no payment yet. So the workers are still very hungry, and they are very concerned about that NLC and TUC are just playing their intelligence because they were threatening the other time that 1st December
they're going on strike.
They're going on strike if workers are not paid and all of that. So today is already the 9th day of December. No actions. And the workers are really upset about the leadership of the NLC and TUC. But away from that, it's also get to the point where we should also speak at what is the problem. That should be the question. What is stopping the payment.
This implementation.
Government are doing projects, giving contracts, they're doing all of that, they are traveling, they are doing all of that. National assemblies are being paid in full and all of that. What happens to people that are contributing to, our development in terms of economy or, the society or societal development? So, can we begin to pay attention to that aspect?
I think we need to pay attention. You see, that's where leadership comes in. It's very important you understand when individuals who make this happen are very valuable to your administration. And before I just want to say kudos to some of the governors who have implemented this particular minimum wage and even increased it to what it is. Of course, we know there are so many governors. I don't want to mention their names, but kudos to them that understand that these individuals that earn this particular amount, they play a key role in the happenings in that particular state. So kudos to these governors. And like I mentioned, this is where leadership comes in. You understand that I need you, you need me. I cannot do it alone. And when I make my workers happy, I will get the best out of them. We won't be going back and forth with this issue. It's just unfortunate that we are still on this matter. And do you know that, Edika, we keep going back and forth when it comes to minimum wage. We keep going back and forth. For as much as it has been increased or what it was before, yes, it's good. But the implementation process is what is lingering, and it's very unfortunate. But we hope that in this particular issue will be curbed as soon as possible. And the next paper that we will be looking at after The Guardian is The Nation. And over to you, Edika.
Yeah, on the front page of The Nation this morning, very big and interesting story. Forex inflow hit $4.5 billion. That's coming from the Central Bank of Nigeria on The Nation. Tinubu House Mahama on return to power in Ghana. Major political comeback. That's on page 5. President Tinubu has extended congratulations to the re-elected President John Mahama. Senator Jimo, 100 billion in federal project offer development opportunities. That's on page 5 on the Nation. UBS stock performs with 375% returns. Bagudu Aliyu, why tax reform is transformative. It's is a very poor. Akumes explains there are no provisions for tax consultants, says Oyedele. There's still a lot of reactions trailing issue of tax reforms, reactions by many stakeholders and leaders. Russia judgment asylum to fleeing Assad and family after Syria falls to rebels. We also have Jagu Power emerges the NGX most compliant lease company for 2023. That's very few stories wrapping up the concern about what is really happening in the nations and on the front page of the Nation newspaper. But just very quickly have to react is about the Forex inflow. Central Bank is saying $4.5 billion as it. There are those that are really concerned about some of the reforms of the Central Bank of Nigeria. I recall they have also introduced, they were the one that brought the issues of floating the naira. So, so as to look at how they can help that sector. So it is still a major concern. Forex is still a major concern because we're still having more importation of what we use. So, but in a way, concerned about how we can boost our own production. Can we also begin to pay attention to producing what we want and what we have to use, not really relying on imported goods and services, so that we can also boost our own naira. The flow the fall of naira is still a major concern, and that's really what has plunked inflation. Because when you go to the field, petroleum will tell you. The forex market also determines how much we sell, our fuel. So if dollar is cheaper, if dollar is cheaper, it means that fuel can also be cheaper.
Very true.
So if dollar is high, there's no how we can sell below that. So it's still a major concern because yes, subsidy removal. We are now in the era of subsidy removal. There's no going back.
There's no going back.
Saying, well, that's what we have to do now. So, but how do we begin to survive? How do we manage to survive out of this stage? How do we manage and sustain, the population of people that are really having, more concern about the hardship and total hardship on them? How do we also manage the concern of the fact that many people today are parked of their vehicles, so the issue of transportation is still very on, The government said we're going to have CNG buses, in the major cities. How about that? I mean, so as to cushion the effect of this hardship. So we should begin to look at what they can do to cushion the effect of the hardship, because yes, indeed, we are in the era of subsidy removal. There's no going back. But what can we also do to sustain the ripple effect of this action? So the forex pressure is still a major concern, and that's why the CBN is saying that it has hit 4.5. So it's not just about hitting. Does this also translate to hitting the life of Nigerians better?
Exactly. And talking about what really the implementation, it's very unfortunate this is where we find ourselves. At the beginning of the year, when we heard about the CNG buses, we're all happy that it's going to add support to individuals, as in for transporting ease.
Driving to work.
Exactly. Really, I was very happy because I remember, I think it was Arthur and I, when we heard that, and in some states about the CNG buses. But now, till now, we're here to hear anything when it comes to it, and we just hear the negative sides of it when it comes to the CNG buses. And people are even scared to even delve into such, and then to convert the amount
centers that can probably do this conversion. You trust Nigerians, they can have their way, do this and that, before you know it has exploded.
I'm talking about brothers. They are good at things like this because because they are so talented. Yeah. When you go to places like Aba, they can actually do this. They want exactly.
They want to do business.
But the conversion alone is high. When you hear about that, it's just better to just stick with what we have when it comes to buying fuel. But at the same time, we really measures need to be put in place to ease the stress of transportation and all of that. Really, high cost of living is really, really hard. It's biting hard. Right now, 25 liters of palm. Okay, 25 is too much for people that want to say, are you kidding me right now? 3 liters of groundnut oil in the market is for 12,000 naira as we speak. It depends on the brand. So you can imagine what is happening. It's now becoming so hard. It's biting on Nigerians. So it's better we brace up and embrace made in Nigerian products for us to move forward. You mentioned something about the importing other goods. I think we should start from Nigeria and make the best of what we have, give it of good quality. So in order for us to move forward, very importantly. Why are you?
I agree with you, but when we look at wigs, Nigeria will begin to produce wigs and all of that.
Are you kidding me?
We're back to that conversation, but where it's still a major concern about how we can boost production in the country.
Very important.
So we can begin to let's get to use what we can, and adjust. If there's still those mounting pressure on our dollars, please, on our naira, please do well to look inward. We have things that we have to collectively look at what we can use, and also government, yes, must build infrastructure to boost, the production, because when there are no infrastructure to build all of this, so there might not be a way forward. So government must also look at what they can do in terms of building the infrastructures and to strive and encourage entrepreneurship, productions, and all of that, so that we can fight inflation. Inflation is a big enemy right now, so
yes, it is.
We must fight it to a standstill. But let's get to go on the very last paper we have.
All right, the last paper on the newspaper review is the Punch newspaper, and above the caption of the Punch we have here, it says tax reform. So talking about tax reform, I don't think it's going away anytime soon till we get to the root, or we nip it in the bud. Akume right now, he plays down Northern opposition as Senate needs AGF. And still on the Punch news, where it says Trump plans mass deportation and to birthright citizenship, and that is on page 38. And here it says Tinubu others congratulate Mahaman as opposition clinches Ghana presidency, and you can find that on page 12. And the star story here is Lakurawa, and it says Nigerian neighbors begin offensive against new terror group. And the rider says DHQ vows to block security gaps as Nigeria, Chad, Niger hold joint military operations. And here it says Syria rebels out Assad and 60-year family rule. And just go out and get yourself a copy of the Punch newspaper. Well, let's talk about this Lakurawa. It's becoming a serious issue in Nigeria as we speak. This new terror group. It's just unfortunate. This is where we are. We've not finished with them. We're not done with Boko Haram. We're not done with the ISWAP. And then, of course, we know IPOD. They have that tendency and all of that, which we have to nip that in the bud. And now this new terror group is out. I do not. Where is this going?
They're finding it very easy to recruit.
Yes, very easy.
They're finding it very easy to recruit. The hunger, the hardship, so easily when people bring an offer. Come and join us. We'll do this. We'll take care of you. We'll give you food. We'll do this.
Exactly.
A lot of people are being exposed to it. So it looks at even out of school children.
Teenagers.
Teenagers have been involved in
yes,
this. So
they have been.
They basically just feel, what am I roaming in the street for? So let me get to belong. So in getting an association, they also have to recruit this person. But in a way, we are also concerned about how they are able to get into this country. So because you look at the fact that this group is fueled by the Sahel regions. Some people are not really from Nigeria, but in a way they've gotten into Nigeria. So it looks like it raises questions about our border. What are our security agencies doing? What are immigrations? What are those persons that are in the borders and the customs and all of that doing at their respective borders we have? Are we really secured? Because people can just come in there and dump munitions, smuggling.
Exactly.
So it's still a danger to our own security. So we should look at addressing the issue of hardship. Is very paramount because this is when they can find it very difficult to recruit. But when they are easily getting some recruitment, they get to any state in the north, and, they easily get people recruited. It means that you can't fight this thing to a standstill completely. So it's still a major concern that first we must pay attention to.
And at the same time, talking about our borders as porous as individuals that can just walk in, come in. Like you mentioned, ammunition is a very serious issue. Looking at
how are they getting these arms?
Exactly. How do they smuggle them in so easily?
How are they going to even purchase it? So one is that there are some people that may be financing them because you ask, how are they able to finance themselves?
Exactly.
Financing is still a major concern, and who are those that are financing them? Still a question.
It's still a question. And then let us try as much as possible to curb when it comes to hardship. The economy and the hardship is what is actually triggering individuals for this easy recruitment in which we have with the Lukarawa terror group that has emerged and causing really serious issues. So when we curb that or we nip it in the bud, which is very important, we see that there'll be a downplay, because when you can afford the basic necessities, when you can go on with life free flow, no hardship, you're not thinking about your family and all of that. That's why individuals are prompt to go in and say, okay, fine, if they die, they die, as long as their family are secured at the end of the day. But we hope that this will be nipped in the bud as soon as possible. And of course, that's the last paper we have on the newspaper review segment. Stay tuned. It's Global Morning. Next is AM News. Do not go anywhere. Global Morning comes back soon. Stay tuned.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper review, latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
That the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper review, latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
News. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and free to air on Nightcomsat. President Bola Tinubu has congratulated Ghanaian President-elect John Mahama on his victory in the country's December 7th, 2024 general election. This came after Mahama's rival, Vice President Mahamudu Bawumia, conceded defeat on Sunday, saying this was to ease tensions after reported fight in several local constituencies. Although the Electoral Commission has yet to announce the result, Bawumia's ruling National Democratic Congress said its internal review showed Mahama leading with 56.3% of the vote against its 41.3%. A statement signed by Tinubu's Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, said in a telephone call to Mahama, President Tinubu hopes that Mahama's ascension to power for the second time would further bring stability to the Economic Community of West African States, of which President Tinubu is the chairman. President Tinubu commended the people of Ghana for their commitment to democracy, which was demonstrated through the peaceful and successful conduct of both the presidential and parliamentary elections. A Nigeria Customs Service Deputy Superintendent of Customs, Pilot Olanike Nafisat Balogun, has made history as the first female pilot in the service, charting a path of resilience and breaking barriers in aviation. The statement said, born in Kaduna and a native of Odot in local government area of Osun State, Balogun's journey began in 2002 when she was recruited as a customs assistant to serve as a cabin crew member in the service's Air Wing unit. Speaking in a recent interview, Balogun reflected on her journey, sharing how her unwavering ambition and the service's support enabled her transformation from a flight attendant to a licensed pilot. Meanwhile, the Joint Border Patrol Team Sector 2 Southwest Lagos State says it has intercepted 6 pieces of pump-action rifles, 1,125 live cartridges, and other contrabands worth 36 billion naira between 2019 to date. The coordinator of the team, Mohammed Shuaibu, a deputy controller of customs, disclosed this while addressing journalists in Lagos. He also noted that the team arrested 1,507 illegal immigrants within the period under review. And President Bola Tinubu says things are taking shape for the better, even though people may not like his government. He said in the face of tough challenges in the country, his administration has made some progress, noting that there are better days ahead. The president, who was represented by the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Rubado, made the remarks at the graduation ceremony for the Executive Intelligence Management Course 17 at the National Institute for Security Studies in Abuja. Also in the news, the governor of Benue State, Hyacinth Alia, has denied calling for the sack of Senator George Akume as Secretary to the Government of the Federation, SGF. The Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Tesu Kula, said that the insinuation that the Governor orchestrated the call for the SGF's removal is a misleading narrative that serves only to distract from the real issue at hand. The Governor's spokesman said the rebuttal was necessitated by mischief making the rounds in the media. He stated that the purported call is allegedly being sponsored by Akume's proxies, who are desperate to blackmail the governor and distract him from the unprecedented developmental strides he is undertaking in Benue State. He said the purveyors hinged their claim on the communique by a group of appointees of the governor. And the military high command says it has invited the international human rights organization Amnesty International to defend its allegation against the armed forces that 10,000 civilians died in its custody. It described the claims by the international rights group as malicious, shocking, lacking in merit, as well as mischievous, noting that the Armed Forces of Nigeria, as a professional organization, could not have engaged in what it has been accused of. It had been reported that Amnesty, at a press briefing in Maiduguri, Borno State, accused the military of sending 10,000 civilians into early grave while in their detention. However, the Director of Defense Media Operations, Edward Buba, in a statement explained standard of operations was followed in handling matters related to arrest of civilians. And the National Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje, has commended President Bola Tinubu and the Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma for their commitment to the development of the Federal University of Technology, Owerri. He stated this during the institution's 36th convocation ceremony. Amarachi Ibe reports that the event featured the conferment of honorary doctorate degrees on distinguished individuals, including First Lady Senator Oluremi Tinubu, Governor Hope Uzodinma, and Governor Babagana Zulum of Borno State.
President Bola Tinubu, the visitor to the convocation, was represented by the Vice Chancellor of the University of Calabar, Professor Florence Obi. In his address, he congratulated the graduating student and outlined some of his administration's interventions benefiting the institution. Senator Oluremi Tinubu, who was honored with a Doctorate of Management degree, congratulated the graduates and announced a donation of 50 million naira to the best female graduating student of the university.
An honor to be conferred with a honorary doctorate degree, Doctor of Management, DMT, by the Federal University of Technology, Owerri, Imo State. I thank the Governing Council and the Senate for this honor. Today, with my love for and support for education, I have donated already the sum of 50 million naira as an endowment fund for the overall best graduating female student of the Federal University of Technology, Owerri.
APC National Chairman Abdullahi Ganduje, while commending President Bola Tinubu and Governor Hope Uzodinma, highlighted their dedication to improving education and infrastructure at the institution.
And I'm happy to hear that the federal government has done a lot, and also the state governor of Imo State has done a lot for the development of this university. Because as an educationist myself, I think this is what it should be. This university is really providing learning facilities, especially in technology. And this university will continue to grow from strength to strength.
Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma, a recipient of honorary degree, expressed gratitude for the recognition. He described the award as a significant honor and pledged to resolve all land disputes between the university and the host communities.
I, as the governor of Imo State, will resolve all the land issues, working with the communities in this institution. I will also, as a symbol of appreciation, select what projects that have been outlined by the institution, by this school, and I will fund that as a way of showing my humble appreciation for this honor. I want to thank you.
The event had in attendance dignitaries from across the country. From Owerri, Amarachi Ibe, reporting for Global TV News.
And the Niger State government has said that it is working to eject unqualified teachers from classrooms to allow effective teaching and learning. The government also directed the retired teachers who live in school staff quarters to vacate for new teachers. Commissioner for Basic Education Dr. Hadiza Asabe Mohammed stated these at the annual general meeting of Bida Old Student Association held in Minna, the state capital. She said the state government is embarking on rigorous screening of teachers, saying that training and retraining would be organized for all teachers, but those who are not trainable would be shown the way out of the system to enable children have a good education. The senator representing Kwara Central Senatorial District in the National Assembly, Saliu Mustafa, has called for the inclusion of retired permanent secretaries in governance and policy-making processes. Speaking at the annual conference of the Association of Retired Permanent Secretaries, Kwara Chapter in Ilorin, Mustafa said Nigeria needed to further make us of
invaluable experience and wisdom of the seasoned administrators, describing them as pillars upon which Nigeria has stood. Mustafa, who was represented by the retired Permanent Secretary Kale Yusuf, highlighted the role the seasoned administrators could play in addressing Nigeria's challenges. And the Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, has warned motorists to desist from exceeding the 100 km/h speed limit on expressways as the festive season approaches. Speeding, according to FRSC, is one of the major causes of road accidents, which must be curbed to save the lives of commuters. The Corps gave the warning amid the alarming rate of road accidents in the country. According to recent data from the FRSC and the National Bureau of Statistics, more than 21,500 lives have been lost to road crashes in the past 4 years in the country. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority says it will strengthen collaboration with airlines, operators, and other aviation stakeholders in the South to also ensure seamless airline operations in the zone. The Acting Director General of the authority, Chris Najomo, said this in his address at the inauguration of the Port Harcourt Regional Office building at the Port Harcourt International Airport, Amagwa, in the Ikwere local government area of Rivers State. Najomo stated that the new facility, which came to realization after 22 years in the offing, underscores the authority's resolve to decentralize operations and bring services closer to stakeholders and enhance the flow of communication and operations within the zone. You're watching AM News and Global Television, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. When AM News returns, AFDB advocates homegrown solutions to harness Africa's potential. Details of these, as well as sports, coming right after this break. Please stay with us. Welcome back and thank you for staying tuned. And now we move on to the business scene, where the African Development Bank, AFDB, has called on African countries to devise and adopt homegrown development strategies to address the continent's economic challenges and drive structural transformation. The bank's Vice President for Economic Governance and Knowledge Management, Professor Kevin Orama, stated that despite billions of dollars in investment from international organizations like the World Bank and AFDB, poverty levels remain high and structural transformation continues to lag across Africa. Professor Orama, who also serves as the bank's chief economist, identified inflation, currency volatility, debt sustainability, and food and energy insecurity as some of the continent's pressing issues. The federal government says Nigeria's fintech ecosystem attracted over $2 billion in investment this year. The 2024 economic report by the Office of the Special Advisor to the Nigeria's President on Economic Affairs listed telecommunications and ICT, especially fintech, as one of the key sectors that drove the nation's economic growth in 2024, with the potential to replicate or double the same fate in 2025. The report also mentioned that with the rollout of 5G networks and the expansion of the internet penetration, the telecommunications and ICT sector is expected to grow by 8 to 10% in 2025. The federal government's statutory allocations to the National Assembly and the National Judicial Council in 2024 hit a total sum of 564 billion naira in October. In February, the House of Representatives pushed for 5% of the country's yearly budget to be allocated to the federal legislature and judiciary. The Green Chamber initiated a process to amend Nigeria's Fiscal Responsibility Act of 2007 by inserting Section 54A, which would make provision for the allocation of 5% each to the National Assembly and the Federal Judiciary in the Appropriation Act for each year. And Nigeria's total capital importation for the third quarter of 2024 witnessed a 51.90% decline from the previous quarter, falling to $1.25 billion. This drop compared to the $2.60 billion recorded in the second quarter of 2024 highlights a sharp contraction in foreign investment despite an overall annual increase of 91.35% from the third quarter of 2023. The latest capital importation report by the National Bureau of Statistics reveals that while Nigeria's capital importation showed substantial growth year on year, there was a notable retreat in inflows compared to the preceding quarter. Nigeria has recorded a trade surplus of 5.81 trillion naira in the third quarter of 2024, reflecting a remarkable rise in export earnings according to the latest data from the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS. However, the surplus recorded in the third quarter of 2024 is far lower than the 6.95 trillion naira trade surplus recorded in the previous quarter. The Bureau, in its foreign trade statistics, noted that Nigeria's merchandise trade for the third quarter this year was a total value of 35.16 trillion naira, marking an 81.35% increase compared to the same period in 2023 and a 13.26% rise from the previous quarter. Total exports for the quarter surged by 98% to 20.49 trillion naira compared to 10.35 trillion naira in the third quarter 2023. And now moving on to the foreign scene. As voting continued in Ghana's general election, police say 4 men have been arrested following the fatal shooting of one person and the wounding of another. It happened at a police station minds of many voters. The West African nation is guaranteed a new president as Nana Akufo-Addo steps down after reaching the official limit of 2 terms in office. And Burkina Faso's ruling military leader dismissed the country's prime minister and dissolved the government, according to a presidential decree. The sacked premier had served as the head of 3 successive governments, surviving each reshuffle. No reason was given for the dismissal of Apollinaire Joachim Kelem de Tembela, who was named as premier in October 2022 after the coup that brought Captain Ibrahim Traoré to power. And a gravely weakened President Emmanuel Macron hopes to win a new lease of political life from ceremonial reopening of Notre Dame. Joined by U.S. President-elect Donald Trump, Prince William, and other international figures, including Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, Macron will seek to present the renovated cathedral as a symbol of France's inner reserves of creative strength. In a speech marking the occasion, he will urge the world to see beyond the country's current political crisis and admire the determination, organization, and hard graft that have rescued one of France's most famous buildings in just 5 years. And now moving on to the world of sports, Chairman of the National Sports Commission, NSC, Shehu Diko, has expressed his readiness and determination to drive the development and success of sports in Nigeria in alignment with global best practice. Speaking in Abuja while addressing journalists after a novelty match played in his honor between Team Diko and Team Nigeria at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Diko emphasized that sport, beyond its recreational value, is now a significant business and pledged that the Commission is fully prepared to elevate it to an enviable global standard. He outlined that under his leadership, the Commission has a clear roadmap and strategy to align with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. Members of Kenya's Football Federation will elect a new leader as concerns mount over the country's preparation to host the African Nations Championships. Members of the Football Kenya Federation will hold their long-delayed election after months of controversy and litigation. Outgoing President Nick Mwendwa was arrested in November 2021 after a government investigation uncovered alleged financial irregularities, and a caretaker committee was put in place to run the FKF. However, global footballing body FIFA intervened and forced the Kenyan government to reinstate the FKF board, while corruption charges against Mwendwa were dropped after the state failed to provide any evidence against him. And that's it on AM News. It came to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365, on Star Times channel 276, and free to air on Nightcomsat. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using @Global TV NG. I am Amina Jibril. Thank you for watching and have a good morning.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper review, latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper review, latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.